Știți că am mai fost părtaș la treaba asta. Conferința globală Creativity for Better revine cu prezență fizică la București pe 3 noiembrie. Avem la Opera Națională București un eveniment practic de ascuțit mintea, dacă vreți. Radio Guerrilla este, ca de obicei, partener media al conferinței. Unul dintre cei mai buni storyteller din lume, Luhn, este speakerul vedet al conferinței Creativity for Better. Este fost storyteller și animator la Pixar Studios și are experiență în lucruri, în amintirile noastre din copilărie, din epoca de aur a fiecăruia. De exemplu, a ta, Gilda.
Mai ales a
ta. Pentru că vorbim despre Toy Story, Monsters, Ratatouille chiar, pe care îl băgăm. Ăsta, da? Îi dau drumul? Ok. Ratatouille, Finding Nemo, Cars, toate astea, el a fost părtaș la toate astea. Și în prezența lui Luhn în cadrul conferinței Creativity for Better există și implicarea MedLife. O să vorbim despre asta, sigur, și cu alți organizatori. Deocamdată să-i spunem bună dimineața lui Matthew. Good morning, Matthew.
Hello.
Hi, Matthew. Sorry for keeping you up. Must be late there.
Oh, it's not so bad. It's late evening, but I'm awake.
Okay, Matthew. I don't think we have it here so widespread this occupation to be a storyteller. I mean, we barely hear this in Romania. How do you carve out a career as a storyteller?
Well, that is a very good question. And I don't think I've actually been asked that before. But, I think all of us are surrounded by storytellers, our parents, our grandparents, our friends. I think, though, I have figured out, I've been very fortunate to have made a career out of it. First, as an animator on the TV show The Simpsons, and then later on as an animator
so
on
it's
Toy
you
Story. And then working on the stories for some of the films you listed. I would say we are all storytellers, but just like anything, the more you do it, the more practice you get, and you start to figure out that there is a kind of a structure. There is a way to be a better storyteller. And so this is what I've been doing for 30 years. And there's the stories on paper you can write, but then there's also visual storytelling and telling a story through art, through drawings, through sculpture, through your voice, right? There's many ways of being a storyteller, and I went the way of visual stories and writing the stories. Yeah.
Well, I guess we're all storytellers to the extent that we're all story listeners, right? When we're kids, it's the way culture perpetuates itself. What about being a professional storyteller? What would be, in your opinion, the hardest thing about being a professional storyteller?
Well, it's, I think one of them is that this is something that's just, I think, for all artists. I don't know. I think a lot of artists have an ego, but at the same time, they're also very insecure. So it's this weird thing of you have an opinion of how art should be done and how things should be written. You're very opinionated about it, but you're also very insecure. So I think one of the hardest things for people who are storytellers professionally is you have a vision and things don't always turn out the way you want them to be because you have to create with other people. But then also you can be very insecure about what you create. Is it good enough? Am I a fraud? And so I think probably the most challenging thing about being a professional storyteller is your own self-doubt and am I good enough?
And all the "I told you so's" you have to listen to when it's not working out, and all the rewards you feel inside. You feel inside when it works out, right?
Yes.
I mean, the rewards must be accordingly to doubting yourself.
Yeah, and I think for me, every time I start off with a story, it starts off with a spark of an idea of something that I think people would find interesting. But usually the first draft of writing it up or dreaming it up is usually not good. But it's all about the iterations. You keep going back into it and make it funnier, make it simpler, make it have more heart. I don't see myself as the best storyteller, but I do see myself as somebody who doesn't give up and will keep iterating and iterating till I feel it comes to a place that I find it acceptable. And then you hope that other people will like it as well.
Right. In the last years, storytelling has been entering the advertisement industry. It's not enough to have a good visual, to have a good logo, to have a good endorser. You have to have a story about your product, and it has to be. It has to be perceived as being sincere and good and altruistic and so on. So, given that this conference is attended by a lot of people, of advertisement people, what would you say about companies? They tend to be more and more into storytelling to create the identity for the product. So, what elements should a story incorporate in order to make it to make the brand stand out?
Well, I think it's something that's very similar with writing a book or doing a movie or a TV show. There's you want to have a hero in the story. The hero has a goal. There's a set of obstacles, and then the hero is going to change. I think the thing that you have to adapt to when it's for a business, a company, or brand, so you have to always ask yourself, who is the hero of the story? Sometimes it may be the CEO of the company. The other times it may be the customer or client. And so then you have to ask, if the customer's the hero, what do they want? What are the obstacles keeping them from getting it? And how are they going to change? And so it really goes back to what you need in a great story: a hero, a goal, an obstacle, and a change.
So, so it's the same. I was watching. I don't know why I was late to the party for this show, Community. Don't know if you know it.
I do know, by Dan Harmon. Yes.
Dan Harmon.
Yeah.
So Dan Harmon has this story circle. He
Yes,
also
he
structures
does.
it, and it's basically the same. You have to have a hero who doesn't get what he wants. He needs change. He has to change. It's also sort of the hero's journey, right?
Yes, it is, and it's a
Campbell,
very simplified version of it, which is really great. What's the funny thing is, right before I came on this, I was watching the Harmon Quest, which is a Dan Harmon animated show thing, because I can't even say, I may be ending up connecting with him soon on a project.
Wow.
So
send my regards, please.
Yeah.
He's great.
He is great. He did Community, Rick and Morty, so
right.
He's a good funny story guy.
Coming back to
Sure.
your scheme.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how does the story of a product, of a brand, influence people, and how does it influence their behavior? And can an unsuccessful story destroy a brand or do a lot of harm to a brand?
Oh,
What would you
absolutely.
say?
And quicker than ever with Instagram and Twitter and the internet. One little bad story, like some self-driving car that, drives off a cliff. That writes a awful story for whoever is wanting to sell that car. So when we make decisions in life, from what car we want to buy to what pair of shoes we want to wear or what TV show we want to watch, we make decisions based on feelings. How did the trailer of the TV show, the ad for the shoe, the commercial for the car, how did it impact our emotions? We make decisions in life based off of how did it make us feel? How did it trigger our emotions? We are no longer, people in marketing and advertising know that it's not about selling stuff anymore. It's about selling a story. It's about impacting people's emotions through color, through music, through what you touch and you taste and you smell. That's what makes us want to purchase certain things or watch certain things or travel certain places, is how they triggered our emotions with a story.
Of course. So if you buy a product, I'm just thinking while I'm speaking. If you buy a product, you associate that product with the whole story around it, with the music, with the feelings and everything. And when you buy it, you're going to live with that feelings, right?
Right.
With those feelings. Right. So, and sometimes how important is sincerity in all of this, authenticity? Because I remember when talking about cars that go off a cliff, Elon Musk was just launching his truck. So he came with this big iron cannonball, sort of. Yeah, and he threw it in the window, and the window broke. And it was one of the main things about that car, that it's unbreakable. Yeah. So, and still people cheered, sort of. The stocks didn't go down. So, but they all trust in Elon, right? Elon is the story, for example. Is that so?
The reason why is because one of the key components in a great story is the hero, is the main character. A lot of times we think the main character of the story or the CEO of the company needs to be perfect, but that's not the case. Actually, we love a hero in a story and a CEO of a company, not just because they succeed, but also that they share their failures. But like a great character in a story, even when a character fails, the hero still gets up and keeps fighting. Everybody knew that when Elon threw that at the window and it cracked, you know that he went right back to his office the next day to figure out how to fix that thing, you know? And so we like heroes, not just because they succeed, but they fail as well, but it's what they do with the failure. And that's what we love about a hero as well.
Yeah, I don't know if you have this term there, but in Romania, in English-speaking Romania, we have the term flawsome, which is someone who is awesome because he has flaws. Flawsome.
Oh, flawsome. Nice. I like that.
How do you... you have to have villains, right? In the story, you have to have people who make it hard for the hero to touch his goals. So, why do people love villains? I mean, it's easy to make a villain sort of likable, but why do people like villains?
Well, you know, I think
sometimes, you know.
Yeah, I think one of the key components about a great villain is the villain is the shadow of the hero. It is the darker side of who the hero could be. And if you ever notice, the best villains in movies want the exact same thing the hero does, but they want to get it in a different way. So you got Harry Potter and Voldemort. They both want to make magic be the most important thing, but Harry wants to do it the good way, Voldemort the bad way. Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, they both want to do the Force, right?
Batman and the Joker, they all want the city.
Exactly. And so I think the reason why we love villains is because we end up, when we see a hero in a film or a story, we put ourselves in the shoes of the hero and say, you know, what would I do in that situation? But we also end up doing that with the villains. We have, you know, like the little good guy and the little bad guy on our shoulders telling us, you know, what we should do. And that's why we're just as fascinated with villains, because there's a little bit of that in both of us, a little good and a little bad.
Okay, Matthew, thank you so much for being on the radio, for answering our questions, and best of luck to you with the IAA.
Thank you.
Okay,
and
have a good sleep now.
Thank you. Right. Nice to talk to you.
7 și 50 de minute, doamnelor și domnilor, a fost match-ul Luhn. Îl vedeți la conferința globală Creativity for Better, pe 3 noiembrie este, 2022. Intrați pe site și vedeți tot line-up-ul. Bună dimineața, 7 și 50 de minute! Hei!